Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the massive new drop of UIID version 2.7. You know the regulatory landscape around digital identity right now? It's not just changing, it's literally fracturing. Navigating identity verification across different borders has turned into this giant, complicated puzzle. But that's exactly where UIID v2.7 comes in. It's explicitly designed to tackle this rapidly shifting environment, giving your enterprise teams total global flexibility without sacrificing that smooth, modern user experience we all want. So if you've ever had to manage user identity across borders, you already know it's becoming a massive headache for product and security teams alike. We really have to start by asking, is the one-size-fits-all approach to identity officially dead? Well, the short answer is absolutely. Between the aggressive rollout of Europe's eIDAS 2.0 framework and these incredibly strict financial auditing mandates popping up all over the world, trying to force a single compliance logic onto a global user base, it just doesn't work anymore. You're dealing with complex global borders that demand hyperlocal compliance. I mean, you simply cannot treat a user logging in from Paris the exact same way you treat someone logging in from California or Singapore. The laws governing their data are fundamentally different.
And this brilliantly illustrates the real issue. Up until now, configuring identity verification for multiple countries meant writing incredibly messy, bespoke routing logic. In some cases, enterprises were literally deploying entirely separate tech stacks just to handle users from different regions. It was painful, right? Well, the new way, introduced right here in v2.7, relies on a fully modular compliance engine with dynamic adaptation. It is a completely frictionless future where the heavy lifting is just done for you.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. First, we'll look at the fractured identity landscape. Then we'll meet the new jurisdictional engine, explore the high-assurance NFC verification, check out the polished UI and bank-grade audits, and finally, go over how you can actually upgrade to v2.7. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The fractured identity landscape, or why the one-size-fits-all approach is totally dead. Like we mentioned, the rollout of eIDAS 2.0 and stricter worldwide financial auditing mandates have absolutely forced a massive paradigm shift in how we handle digital identity. Moving right along to Section 2, the jurisdictional engine. This is your tool for truly modular compliance, and honestly, it's the magic weapon of this entire release.
So what does this engine actually do? Well, it dynamically adjusts things like required data minimizations, cryptographic proof strengths, and consent mechanisms under the hood, all entirely dynamically based on exactly where your user is located. For example, if your user happens to be in the EU, boom, the engine instantly triggers eIDAS High and GDPR requirements. If they're in the US, it maps right over to NIST SP 863 and CCPA. Over in Singapore, it seamlessly aligns with the Singpass Framework. So what you get is absolutely airtight legal compliance on the back end, while your users get a totally frictionless, highly localized onboarding experience tailored perfectly to their local laws. It really is the best of both worlds.
And to manage all of this, the Trust Center now includes a Jurisdiction Selector. Think of it as an intuitive, no-code admin toggle that easily switches between your global baseline verification and those hyper-specific regional rule sets. Remember the old days of having to write custom code for every single new region? Yeah, those days are over. This requires literally zero code changes. Your compliance officers can instantly adapt to shifting geopolitical legal landscapes with just a click. And the best part? It leaves your developers completely free to do what they actually do best, which is build great features. All right, Section 3, High Assurance NFC Verification and eIDAS 2.0 compatibility. This is exactly how UID is staying way ahead of the curve.
With Europe so aggressively pushing its eIDAS 2.0 framework, version 2.0 introduces advanced near-field communication, or NFC, verification. By allowing users to scan the embedded RFID chips in their physical biometric passports directly with their smartphones, you get genuine hardware-level validation. This creates near-impenetrable security against deepfakes and sophisticated identity fraud. I mean, in this modern era of AI deepfakes, hardware-level validation is the true gold standard. And this is exactly how UID successfully meets those incredibly strict European high assurance levels.
But hey, this framework isn't just limited to Europe. UIE has tightly integrated support for other major global trust frameworks too. Whether it's eIDAS 2.0 in Europe, NIST standards over in the US, or FATF, those are the financial anti-money laundering guidelines, you are completely covered. So rest assured, no matter what rigorous standards your specific industry demands, the framework supports it right out of the box.
Let's move to Section 4 and see how this all builds together. Polished UI and bank-grade audits, which is really where the front end finally meets the back end.
Look, if you operate in the fintech, healthcare, or government space, you know that simply being compliant is only half the battle, right? You also have to prove it to your auditors. So to take the pain out of audit season, UIID v2.7 implements immutable compliance logs. Let's walk through the structured flow real quick. Step 1, a verification event occurs. Step 2, a rule set evaluation happens dynamically, based entirely on the user's jurisdiction. Step 3, a cryptographic hash, which is essentially a digital tamper-proof fingerprint, is generated and written straight to an unalterable log layer. Generating these immutable compliance logs gives your enterprise a totally bulletproof, audit-ready trail. It instantly solves enterprise audit season anxiety, while fully respecting strict data retention laws like GDPR.
Now, obviously, a ton of work went into the back-end security, but the end-user experience needs to look and feel cutting-edge too. So the UID badge system has been completely redesigned with a sleek, minimalist circular aesthetic and standardized geometry. What does that mean? It means a unified border thickness so that whether your trust badge is rendered on a massive high-res desktop monitor, a mobile phone, or even a tiny embedded web component, it maintains absolute perfect visual clarity and professional consistency. The front end is now just as polished and professional as the back end.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, upgrading to UID v2.7 and the next steps for enterprise teams.
So, are you ready to upgrade to global flexibility? The great news here is that this update is available right now. You can direct your teams to the developer portal today to grab the latest SDKs, read through the comprehensive new eIDAS 2.0 implementation guides, and check out all of that awesome new design documentation for the badge system. If you are managing digital identities today, the borders are complex, but navigating them really doesn't have to be. Jump into the community Slack channel and let the team know what you think of the new Jurisdiction Selector. I'll leave you with this final thought. If identity is the absolute foundation of your product's security, can you really afford to let your compliance engine fall behind a fractured global reality? Thanks so much for joining this explainer, and we will see you next time.